On a warm March day in 1879, in the German city of Ulm, a quiet baby was born who refused to speak on time. His parents worried. Little Albert Einstein did not say full sentences until he was almost 4. At family dinners, he sat in silence, listening, his dark eyes moving from face to face. Relatives joked that he might never be normal. But inside, the boy's mind was already busy, turning the world over and over like a puzzle cube. One day when Albert was sick in bed, his father showed him a simple object that changed everything: a small magnetic compass. The needle, quivering yet always pointing north, seemed almost magical. No matter how his father turned it, the invisible force pulled the needle back. Albert stared, mesmerized. How could something he couldn't see control something he could? He would later say that this tiny compass was one of the most important experiences of his life. School, however, felt nothing like magic. In the strict German classrooms, teachers demanded memorization and obedience. Albert wanted reasons, not orders. He questioned teachers, argued about methods, and refused to simply repeat what was in the textbook. One teacher even told him, "You will never amount to anything." The words lodged in his mind like a splinter, but they did not stop him. Outside of school, he found his own teachers. A medical student who boarded with the family introduced him to mathematics and philosophy. Albert devoured books, from geometry to the writings of great thinkers. At night, while the city quieted down, he lay awake imagining himself racing alongside a beam of light. What would it look like, he wondered, if you could catch up to light itself? His family life was far from calm. His father's electrical business struggled and eventually failed. The Einsteins moved to Italy in search of better opportunities, leaving teenage Albert behind to finish school in Germany. He felt abandoned and trapped. Eventually, he left school without a diploma, joined his family in Italy, and then enrolled in a Swiss school to catch up. At the Zurich Polytechnic, he hoped to finally fit in. He didn't. He skipped some classes, studied what fascinated him, and annoyed certain professors with his independence. When he graduated, those same professors refused to give him the recommendations he needed for a university job. The future genius could not find work. For 2 long years, he wandered between tutoring jobs, often broke and uncertain. Friends worried about him. How could such a brilliant mind be so stuck? Then a small opportunity opened. A position at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. It was not a glamorous job. He examined inventions and checked if they were new. But the office offered something priceless: time to think. By day, he read about clocks, machines, and electrical devices. By night, he returned to his old questions. What is time? What is light? What would it mean to say 2 events happen at the same time if you are moving very fast? In 1905, working as an unknown patent clerk, he unleashed the answers. That year, now called his miracle year, Einstein published 4 revolutionary papers. In them, he explained how light behaves like both waves and particles, showed how to measure the size of invisible atoms, connected energy and mass with the now famous equation E = mc², and completely shattered the old idea of space and time with his special theory of relativity. In simple words, he showed that time can run differently for different people, depending on how fast they move. Clocks on fast trains, in principle, tick more slowly than clocks on the ground. Space could stretch, time could bend, but the speed of light was fixed. The world of physics would never be the same. At first, many scientists ignored the young patent clerk, but slowly the brilliance of his ideas became impossible to deny. He earned a position at a university, then another. Over the next decade, he expanded his ideas into the general theory of relativity, a new description of gravity itself. Space and time, he said, are like a flexible fabric curved by mass and energy. Planets don't feel a mysterious pull. They simply follow the curves of this cosmic fabric. In 1919, an eclipse expedition confirmed one of his predictions. Light from distant stars bent as it passed the sun, just as Einstein's equations had said. Newspapers around the world announced that Newton had been challenged and a new genius had arrived. The quiet, messy-haired professor suddenly became a global celebrity. But fame never erased his struggles or his conscience. Einstein had lived through war and seen how science could be twisted into weapons. He spoke out for peace, criticized nationalism, and defended the rights of the persecuted. As a Jew in Europe, he watched with horror as hatred rose in Germany. When Adolf Hitler came to power, Einstein left Europe for the United States, losing his old home forever. In his later years at Princeton, he walked to his office slowly, hair wild, clothes a little wrinkled, always thinking. He searched for a unified theory that would tie together all the forces of nature, but it remained out of reach. Still, he never stopped asking questions. To him, curiosity was a holy fire. Albert Einstein's life was not a straight line of success. It was a path of doubts, failures, rejections, and restarts, guided by one stubborn belief that the universe could be understood if you asked the right questions and refused to give up. The boy who stared at a cheap compass grew into a man who reshaped our picture of reality. And his story whispers a quiet lesson. Sometimes the ones who don't fit the classroom are the ones who end up changing the world.